Grievances, a podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew.
My name is Emily.
And we are back with season 10, where we will
10.
be
10.
Yeah. Where we are going to be discussing, drumroll, Fishing with John, the 1992-ish 6-episode series where a Japanese investment firm decided to hire some American to make TV, and John Lurie showed them why maybe they should have done some more due diligence, because
what are you talking about? This is a brilliant television show.
It's exactly what they wanted. It is exactly what they
This is a brilliant television show. It's not John Lurie's fault that the production company was going bankrupt at the time and didn't have money to finish the show.
Or that they constantly told... We'll get to it. So, the show aired on IFC?
Yeah.
Or Bravo or
and
whatever.
Bravo later, yeah.
Now, these, for you children, these were cable networks, the equivalent. I mean, there's really no current equivalent.
No, there's not. Everything is shit. Remember when Bravo used to show shit like this? Like artsy stuff? Like independent movies and like interesting things. And now it just shows like Kardashians and reality shows. I don't know about Kardashians, but reality shows and garbage.
Yes, except you have to remember, Emily, that many of the people involved in indie film movements of the 70s through early 2000s were just a bunch of racist rapists. So, yes, the culture has suffered, but also we are no longer ignoring certain things. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think we'll have to talk about that during this show based on the guest list. So, other than me shit-talking Crash during the Matt Dillon episode, we'll be fine.
That's okay. Shit-talk Matt Dillon.
We can watch... I'll need to watch Tex beforehand. So, but yes, so the show came out on the Criterion Collection. It is currently streaming on the Criterion Channel.
Yes.
It has not been released on Blu-ray. It is still available only as a DVD because I guess Criterion's not willing to do shitty machine learning upconverting yet. I'm sure they'll get to that point, but they're leaving the 480p alone or whatever, or 240p alone. Or it was shot on high 8, so I think that's 320 by 240. So there's already some upconverting going on. Anyway, Emily chose this show following our Doctor Who 60th anniversary special season. Pinning that possibly, but she did not want to return to going to extremes.
No, that was the rules that you set. Was that if they didn't kill Donna, if they didn't kill Donna and they treated the women of Doctor Who correctly, that we would
celebrate by not doing that,
not finishing it.
And so our postscript for going to extremes is Erica Alexander is currently in a movie.
Is she in The Color Purple?
No, she's in the one with Wright. What's his name? Not Joseph Wright. That's not his name. Jeffrey Wright. And
with the book. Yeah, with the book.
Yes. So I read a quick interview with her. She does not mention going to extremes. So she does mention that following her initial success in her first role, the only roles offered to her were of a teen prostitute and a slave. So,
yikes.
Okay. So we're not going to be watching that anymore. We will not be talking about those things. Instead, we will be talking about this show, which I have never seen before.
I can't believe you've never seen it. I was going to ask you if you had ever seen it.
I've never seen it.
What a delight for you.
We'll just get this out of the way, that while I am a Big fan of Stranger Than Paradise. Not a Down by Law fan. Yeah, you know this. This is something we talked about
Is it?
12 years ago, and you were
I
just
don't
like,
remember
fuck
12
you.
years ago.
You suck.
Is it because Roberto Benigni?
I just don't think it played for me. I need to watch it again, but I just don't think
you don't need to. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I was a younger person then. Okay. So, but the concept of this show, and so now I watched the commentary as well, which I do recommend.
Good.
Because it offers some context. Now, when you watch the show itself, the most impressive thing about it is the editing. It's fucking just. Now, I read a blurb, and so we don't get into this episode. Somebody was like, they cut it to make it seem like they're in a supernatural adventure. That's not this episode. However, this episode is about shark hunting.
Yeah. So let's back it up just a little bit. This is a fishing show.
It's a fishing show with John.
With John Lurie, who doesn't actually know how to fish.
No.
But they play it like he does. In this episode, he is talking about his fishing adventures, talking about fishing for sharks, and all of this stuff. But he doesn't actually know how to do any of it. Which is why there's the guy. The guy
that's why there's
who's catching all of the fish and who's actually doing everything.
He is I don't know if there's a nice way to put it. He's a white guy. He is a fucking white guy fisherman. He does it as a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like he talks about it. So, and on the commentary, he explains where this came from, is that he recorded he used to record his fishing when he'd go on fishing trips. He'd record on his Super 8 or his High 8 video camera. That's the funniest part of the commentary, where he's like, video can look good. And I'm just like, no, dude. Video could look good. I'm sorry. Yes, Hollywood. We all smoked Hollywood and indie filmmakers from 1991 through, I don't know, 2008. We all smoked crack and said it looked fine when you shot stuff on shitty video. Yeah.
So the intro, with the music and stuff is all of those old videos kind of spliced together, or some of those old videos spliced.
And so, but it just kicks off with him picking up his buddy in New York City, Jim Jarmusch. They get into the car, they have a little bit, and then John Lurie's like, "You're not going to make this hard for me, are you?" And Jim Jarmusch is like, "You're going to fucking find out based on, our movies." And what adds another layer to it is, in the commentary, he talks about how there was a scene Jarmusch wanted cut, and he's like, "And I kept it in as payback for Stranger Than Paradise and Down by Law." And he's just like, what the fuck did you two do to each other? And there's a thing about how Tom Waits, I think, is on the next episode, and apparently the episode led to a falling out for them for a while. So I'm hoping the commentary will talk about that.
Yeah, a little bit. But he's got a lot of beef with a lot of people who used to be his friends.
Oh, and okay. He's one of those.
And I don't exactly, I've read his memoir a couple of years ago, and he doesn't go into a lot of detail. Maybe for legal reasons, maybe just because he's sick of rehashing it over and over, but he doesn't go into a lot of detail.
Okay.
He doesn't go into a lot of detail about the show. I scoured through it looking for more information about the show, but there's not a lot.
So...
But he picks up Jim Jarmusch. They drive to Montauk, and this is, I think, when some editing is sort of brilliantly done, where they're telling stories about fishing. There's making weird jokes. There's nothing I love more than like friends, like giving each other the business a little bit. And that's what this is. I really enjoyed this.
And
there's a scene. Oh, also John Lurie directed all of these episodes.
Yes.
And he made all the music for the episodes. So one of my favorites is Shark Drive.
Everybody, you heard that, actually. You heard that in the intro to the
Shark Drive. I love it. It's so funny and stupid. Which is why I love John Lurie. I'm gonna gush all 6 episodes about how much I love him.
It's not just because he follows her on Twitter, everyone. What I say? What I say?
Why I can never delete my Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm also looking through the Whisper transcript I ran of the episode so I could track along, and it totally screwed up. And there's just
well, it's a lot of weirdness.
So we also get the narration, which
Rob Webb.
About Rob Webb. He talks about the guy at length in the commentary, but basically he got like the classiest narration, and it was very rewarding to me to hear John Lurie say, and when because he's one of those guys, you hear him say something and you think it's true. Yeah. And I was like, this is one of those things that people refuse to acknowledge about narration voice, is that it's like British narration. You assume it's true. Mm-hmm. It's fucking not, including when they talk about the killer shark attacks and the lethal things. And in the commentary, John Lurie's like, yeah, I made all that up. Yeah. It's a lie. Yeah.
So in addition to writing and directing and writing the music, he wrote all of the narration. And this episode is particularly heavy in shenanigans. He literally just wrote weird things for Rob Webb to say.
Yeah. Including oh God.
These two fishermen are covered in sores and boners.
And boners, which is, I can't remember if that's before or after Jim Jarmusch asks if he wants to see his penis.
That was after.
After. Okay.
Yeah.
Where they're just, because as we find out in the commentary, the process for the episode is you throw your friend / acquaintance on a boat for 12 hours recording, and then you cut up the best bits of when you're both fucking tired and bored.
And just shooting the shit again.
And there's also the detail that John Lurie didn't, I guess, realize that filming, his cameramen were going to get physically ill by being on a boat and shooting.
Yeah.
Shooting through a viewfinder. So you could fix this today by just, rigging up a bunch of little cameras, but not in 1991. And so in the commentary, they explained they caught 4 sharks that day, but they only could use one of it, because you're just like, no, you don't believe they caught 4 sharks.
I don't believe they caught any sharks.
Wow. It's all just a lie.
Can I tell you, John Lurie is one of those people who could say anything to me and it could be a complete lie and I wouldn't care. I wouldn't feel betrayed. I wouldn't be like, what the fuck, dude? I just don't care. He's so charming and so weird. God damn it. He could say literally anything to me and I'd be like, okay, cool. So I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth.
So yes, they're sitting around, they shoot the shit, they talk about, John Lurie tells some fishing stories, which he promises are true, including when he dug up he caught the fish from The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. He caught one of the undersea fish that have lights on them.
Yeah, and like the football fish or whatever.
Yeah, and then Jim Jarmusch tells a story about dolphins identifying a woman's early breast cancer. And that on the commentary was the one where I was waiting for him to be like, that's true. And he doesn't like comment on it. He's like, oh, and here you see why my coverage shots aren't very good. And I was like, no, I want to know if his story was true, dude. I don't care about how your high 8 was set up. Like,
but the Rob Webb narration after that is something like, the most incredible part of the story is that the dolphins didn't know that she didn't know she had breast cancer.
Yeah.
So fun.
And so Lurie explains on the commentary how the production went. They filmed all these episodes. The company ran out of money. Then he did shit. They came back and were like, here, we got some money. But then he did them irregularly, he said. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to seeing, it feels like we're going to get we already get in this one, they didn't know when they started shooting whether or not they were going to acknowledge the film crew.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Jarmusch gets into the car and he's like, oh, hey guys. And John Lurie's like, why the hell are you talking to blank space? You're weird, Jim Jarmusch.
So you'll find that this first episode is very different than the other episodes. This is it's almost like a pilot. Like John doesn't really know what he's doing or the direction it's going to take or whatever. So not all of the episodes are this weird.
Okay. Some of them are just about fishing. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they just are fishing. There's a scene where they talk about the scene that Jim Jarmusch once cut, where they talk about the immorality of fishing.
Yep.
And that it's a weird scene. But you know what? Jim Jarmusch shouldn't have wronged him on the sets of Stranger Than Paradise and whatever.
Down by Law.
And if you think about it, John Lurie had the least acting career of anybody in those movies, except the ladies. So,
did I tell you I saw Richard Edson on the street a while ago? The other guy from Stranger Than Paradise.
I don't know. Was he?
It was like
on the street.
I mean, he looked like a hip old guy, but I was like, oh my God. And Jason's like, I don't know who that is. I said his name, and he's like, I have no idea who you're talking about. I was like, the guy from Ferris Bueller who steals the car.
I was going to make a joke that would be the reference versus you being like the co-star in Stranger Than Paradise.
I could have, but
yes, the not black guy who steals the car in Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So they talk about the fishes, and then they catch a shark in a beautifully edited sequence. Like they edit the hell out of it. John Lurie edited the hell out of this show. Like, I get why it took him, in addition to not having the right coverage, having to go through 14 hours of footage, doing it through the middle of the night and looping in audio twice and not fixing it because who gives a shit.
And looping in like weird sound effects.
Oh, that was, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
there's like in the ocean, there's like the sound of school children.
Yes. Okay, so 2 bits you only get from the commentary is the first is there are shots of Jim Jarmusch on the boat where he goes, what am I doing here? And John Lurie's like, that's a reference to Wim Wenders' shitty sequel to whatever City of Angels was based on.
Wings of Desire
Part 2, where they're in the subway and everybody's sitting around going, and the angel can read their thoughts and all they're thinking is, what am I doing here? And he's like, nobody got that joke though. And I was just like, yeah, sorry, John, your audience for this, the Bravo channel was showing this amid the Wim Wenders marathons that it ran, right? Like, sorry, dude, your Venn diagram of people who don't like Wim Wenders but like are gonna watch your show, it's a sliver. Like it's probably separated over the years, right? But at the time, that was your audience.
Yeah.
So there's that, but then there's also, he's like, and the Japanese media company, Telcom, they gave me this like thing of a bunch of sound effects. And so I put in this, sound effect of these school kids playing because I thought it like gave it an ethereal, otherworldly feel. And I'm like, it does. And he's like, nobody agreed with me, especially not Telcom.
And there's also, again, they can't decide what to do with the other people. So the pilot of the ship, whenever he speaks, you get like a Charlie Brown, like, which like weirdly like cuts dialogue. For the most part, this is like reality TV to, taped.
Right.
And so their dialogue isn't scripted. I mean, they're just literally just two friends shooting the shit. So it's weird to have just like somebody cut in that you can't understand what they're saying.
Who
and then
often appears
redirects.
to be giving them directions, right? Like, stop trying to shoot the fucking sandwich in the ocean, you idiots. Like,
no, that's a big piece of cheese. That was the most hilarious thing in the world. I love it so much. They, after hours trying to catch a shark, so they start by fishing for fish that they can use as chum. And they do that, or Barry or whatever the captain's name is does that.
Barry's the assistant. No, Craig. No,
I don't know. Whatever.
The guy in the cool shirt that says shark trainer and it's got a big bloody bite and then the
taken out of it, the side of him. I love that. They're catching chum, and then they're chumming the waters to get the sharks to come to them, and it's not working. It's like, I think he says like 3 or 4 hours have elapsed. It could be 20 minutes. I mean, we don't know. And so they decide to hold a piece of cheese. Jim is holding a piece of cheese over the back of the boat. And John has got a revolver of some kind, like
I mean, it's not a fucking 6-shooter. It's a fucking. It's like a little. It's a little automatic. Okay.
It's hilarious. And he's like, "No, just hold it there. Just hold it there. And then when the shark comes, drop it." Like, as if he's not going to get his entire arm chewed off.
Well, I mean, these are blue sharks, so. I mean, when they do catch the shark, it's not like a great white. They do use a picture of a great white when they say they're out to hunt sharks, but it's not, because there is a Jaws bit. Yeah.
What are the great movies about fish? Jaws.
And then they stop, and then they just start talking about Jaws, and you're just like, okay. And there doesn't seem to be a cut there, so I just don't think they
went any further. Yeah.
And then so they catch the shark, they talk about it, they let it go because they're not gonna,
because they're concerned about the ethical nature of fishing, apparently.
And then they're just two men who fish with friends.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And then it cuts out, and the weirdest thing happens over the end credits. An ad comes up for John Lurie's website.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there going, it's a show from 1992. You added this criteria. Take it out. I want the original cut. You're messing up the credits. No,
this very well could be what they showed on Bravo in 1991.
All right.
It was by the music from Fishing with John.
I mean, agreed. By the music from Fishing with John.
It's so fun. I'm very excited.
An absolute delight.
Good. So. And it's so fast. There's not a plot that we have to pick apart.
I caught some sharks, maybe. Emily doesn't think so.
I don't think so, but
he bought footage off of actual shark catchers.
There's not there's not much that's problematic. I'm sure that we could talk about Dennis Hopper. I don't think there's anything problematic. He was just kind of an asshole, right? He was just kind of a prick. But that's later.
I mean, like in the episode or in real life?
In real life.
I mean, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But, I mean, whatever. Like, he's dead.
He's dead.
He didn't live too long. And it's not like he, sucked the life out. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, he was around in the 60s and 70s, man. He did some bad things, I'm sure.
You're going to love the episodes with Dennis Hopper.
Okay, that's right. It's a 2-parter. Anyway, but I don't think we're going to need to. Like, at this point, we could pretend he was a hippie still instead of a fucking just old racist white guy.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I've got. I'm very excited to continue this journey.
So yes, it's on the Criterion streaming thing, including the commentaries, so you can watch both. It's a delight, and I
might watch both. I saw the commentary one came up first, and I was like, no, I'll watch the episode. I should watch the commentary as well.
I marathon them in a single sitting and a half.
So a whole 52 minutes.
Not even 40, 45 minutes. Shorter than an episode of Going to Extremes. So
and packed full of delight. Just relish his weirdness. And his goofy and his old man storytelling. I just love him to pieces. Next episode 2 of Fishing with John. I almost said Painting with John. Has got Tom Waits, and they are in Jamaica, and Tom is very grumpy.
And there will be additional context for that because we will be watching the commentary.
Yeah.
And then I can talk about how I don't really get the Tom Waits thing post 1970.
Fair enough.
I don't need to listen to you talk, Dan. You're not that. You're stealing Black culture, reappropriating it, even if you're not a big racist about it. It's just what you.
Yeah.
Kind of like Henry Miller exploited running in queer circles and then just making fun of them for rich white people. Anyway, that's not what we're doing this episode. See, I need to.
How did we get on Henry Miller? What the fuck?
Because of Tom Waits'
I know, but it was just weird. It was a weird jump.
It is just something that people don't talk about enough.
I guess I didn't realize that he was not queer.
Not at all. He was a violent homophobe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, white people are pieces of shit, but not on this show. So.
Oh, they're their own special brand of pieces of shit. So we will see you next time. Thank you all for listening to this very short episode. Andrew, do you have anything else before we wrap up? Like, I just feel weird because it's so short.
We don't know if we're going to be doing an episode on Doctor Who Special 4 because we don't know if we're officially acknowledging it as the 60th anniversary special, even though Disney Plus currently is. And Russell T Davies has had to make a comment about that. He's had to say, so it's a soft launch of season 14 or whatever.
So usually that's how the Christmas specials are. The Christmas special is a soft launch into the new season.
Yes.
So I wasn't expecting. I'm wondering if this special 4 is just because the Disney Plus thing. They don't know how to categorize it.
Seems like it, but
yeah.
So we're going to have to do a lot of research and a lot of hard thinking about whether or not this can qualify. We might have to ask Russell T Davies to chime in and see if he thinks we should cover it on the pod. Emily, you can reach out to him.
I will reach out to John Lurie and see if we can get him on the pod.
For one of these episodes or for a Doctor Who episode? Because I bet
one
he
of these
episodes Doctor Who, and that would be even better. I think Galaxy Brain idea, Fishing with John, the sequel series, where he has to go out with a different cast member of Going to Extremes, filmed all entirely in Jamaica.
I don't think it would be very good.
With a captain and crew who have had to watch some of Going to Extremes.
And I don't know what John's health is like that he can do that.
Also,
days.
We're not supposed to be punishing the cast of Going to Extremes, except
Alex.
Okay, moving on. We are, this is weird.
I know, it's so short. That's so okay. Short.
It's fine. Okay, well, Emily?
Yeah, I will see you in Television Land. Is that what you were going to say?
I was going to say you can buy the Fishing with John soundtrack at www.whatever that website was .com.
Okay.
Maybe you can listen to it on Apple Music or Spotify.
You can. I think you can listen to it on Apple Music and Spotify. Listen to all John Lurie music, everybody. John Lurie and the Lounge Lizards and everything. Do it. Especially Voice of Chunk. Voice of Chunk is great. Okay. Thank you all for listening. Andrew, see you in Television Land.
See you in Television Land.